Yeah, hi friends. It's Harpreet Singh, and my next guest is Mr. Raj Dhanota. So he is, I think, also another member of the community in Tracy who have been quite active. And because why it's important that you need to be active, because I think her wife has already mentioned that, and uh, it's one of the things to be in the profession and then I think do a lot of stuff with that, even thinking about, because everyone is busy as we discussed I think in the previous video. So I like to, I think, ask him few questions again, and it would be very basic, so don't fear about anything. And don't get scared because your wife had the interview previously,
Sure.
so you will do best, and I hope for that. So Raj, let us know what you are doing presently as per your profession. I think you are in healthcare industry, and just give little bit details about that.
Sure. And first of all, Harpreet, thank you for coming and
Okay.
doing this event, or the channel you're starting to cover all the young generation that are working in the community to setting up the as influence for our upcoming generation. So I currently work for Kaiser Permanente,
Okay.
which is a healthcare organization, as a project manager, where I'm working in the pharmacy department, and we are literally touching over 10 million members' life
Wow.
each day. Any single change that's happening from a state level to a federal level, that goes through our department in the pharmacies.
Wow.
And on the community side, I'm currently sitting as a Parks and Community Services Commission
Mhm.
in the city of Tracy, and that's what I do.
So what's your typical day? I think you have work, and then you have this community
Right.
activity going on.
Yeah, definitely working in the corporation 9 to 5. It is a little bit challenging to maintain and balance both sides, because
Mhm.
9 to 5 job sitting on a desk and whole day, you have back-to-back meetings, and you have commute to go to Bay Area. My office resides in Oakland, and some days I
Mhm.
have to go, some days I can work from Pleasanton. But it is your passion. If you
Mhm.
really care about your community, I believe you have to get involved.
Mhm.
And you can get involved in many different things, and I chose to get involved, starting with my own community, Sikh community. I started doing the little things, having them get together
Mhm.
and start participating in city of Tracy with them, and then slowly I get to know about their different commissions in our
Mhm.
city.
Mhm.
There's a planning commission, there's a Parks and Rec commission, there's a
Mhm.
transportation commission, and I chose to be on the Parks and Rec commission because it is something close to my heart,
Okay.
because they do so much for our community, just not only for adults, but from a
Mhm.
little kid to a teenager to an adult
Sure.
to a seniors. So that is what is important for a community building. They're caring about every single age group,
Mhm.
and that's what we are trying to do. We're just trying to not only focus on a certain age group, we're
Mhm.
trying to focus on everybody. And there are so many different things that everybody can start getting involved in. And one of the things that I really personally participated in the beginning, it was the event for Meet the Professional,
Mhm.
which we were doing it from last 2 years, in which what we do, we bring different subject matter experts from
Mhm.
different professions. For example,
Okay.
you were from a law background,
Mhm.
other people from they're physicians, they're pharmacists, they're in aviation.
Mhm.
We try to connect them with our upcoming generations. They're the
That's
students,
great.
they're going to high school, they're graduating from high school, and they don't know which path they need to take.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not, oh, I want to become an engineer, or I want to
Mhm.
become a doctor. Sometimes they just don't know, because they don't know anything better than what they have heard.
Sure.
So they need to hear from the other people. So that's how I got involved. And then
Mhm.
Simran was running for the election. Then
Mhm.
I got to see more different gaps in the community that we
Mhm.
can fill in. But if you achieve something, I believe in, you need to make yourself available for the
Mhm.
community to give back.
Good. I think as Simran has mentioned already, that it's really very important to get involved, and you have, I think, you have been involved in the community from, I think, couple of years.
I started in 2017, and it's been almost 3 years.
Okay, and I think you moved in 2017.
I moved in here in 2016.
16. Okay, means I think within just 1 year, because usually people think that, as Simran was saying, that I am not involved in the community yet, just give some time. means until you don't go,
I mean,
you will not
being
get
involved,
involved.
it doesn't mean you have to do something big. Even
Mhm,
very
yeah.
small things, they do matter, because
Sure.
every single thing that you're doing, you're helping even as individual,
Mhm,
you are being involved.
mhm.
That's what giving back, and that's what I believe in, and that's I would encourage everybody to. If you are doing something, don't get discouraged that, oh, it's not big enough, the
Mhm,
people aren't gonna see it. It's
mhm.
not about showing to people. It's about what do you believe in, what your passion is,
Sure.
what do you really think that can help your community, that can help your society.
Sure. You are doing good then. So, so I want to touch a little bit on your profession. So, can you provide I think, a summary of how you reached to a healthcare management position, and like what qualifications you need, and like what kind of jobs or what kind of entry level positions the student should look?
Right, definitely. For my first of all, I'll start with I earned my bachelor's degree from San Jose State in
Mhm.
the business administration management information system. And when I graduated, I didn't know that I'm going to end up being in the healthcare organization. I was looking something to everybody in the Silicon Valley
Mhm.
wants to work for Facebook or Google
Mhm.
or different IT organization.
Mhm.
While I was in the school before graduating,
Mhm.
I got a really good mentor through my friends.
That's good.
What he told me said, if you're looking for a job, you need to start doing internships. So since then I always focus. I'd always advise to people that are going to be graduating
Mhm.
soon that you need to have an internship. Doesn't matter it's a paid, it's a non-paid, it's a volunteer work.
Mhm.
You need to go and see what it looks like to work for a company.
Mhm.
You probably from outside, because when you're in a school, you're looking at something which is 30 miles away. You will
Mhm.
not have a clear picture. You know there's a path that goes to that, but
Mhm.
there's so many different things on that path that you may like, oh, I like this, I like that.
Mhm.
Oh, what about that? You wouldn't know unless you go and see it. So I work for, as an internship, my first internship I did for a big corporation that was the Juniper Networks in Silicon Valley in Sunnyvale. And I started, I worked there for almost 4 or 5 months in the summertime, where I learned about what I want to do actually. I wanted to work on a project that can help a community, that can touch somebody actually in their real life. And in working in IT, there's so many different big projects that they're bringing it, they're changing the way we're living. But from that, I kind of got the hang of what I wanted to do. So I ended up applying in Kaiser Permanente, where I got my first opportunity as a project manager. And since 2014, I've been working there, and I'm loving it. And each day, any single change that we're making, it's touching over 10 million people life.
Wow.
Yeah.
10 million people.
Over 10 million.
So I think you can think about even the type of work you are doing. I think we talk about Sikh American awareness. So in being in those positions which you are already in, and how you behave, what's your character you show at your work, that also matters.
Yes.
Because it's, I think people should not generalize, but I think human tendency have that people usually generalize, and whatever you do, it will get attached to your community. So I think being part of Sikh American awareness, I think you should be humble and just keep your integrity at your work, and I think do good work. That's exactly. I think one of the main thing. Right. So next I'd like to ask you about the incident, I think, which happened, and you have been at the Park and Recreation Commission. So after that incident, so what talks I think you have among your community to address these kind of situations?
It was a very unfortunate tragedy that took place, and nobody was there. Everybody was in a denial that how did this happen? Yeah. It never happened, especially in the Tracy city of Tracy. It's a beautiful community. It's everybody loves each other, and this was just very shocking news. And the other shocking part was, I'm being a Sikh community member. It was very shocking for me when the person's death was addressed, associating that he's from Middle East. Yeah, he was not being identified as a Sikh, but he was misidentified as a Middle East person. So what that pushed me for that, where are we lacking? We are businessmen in the Central Valley, not in city of Tracy. We own hotels, we own law firms, we are like physicians, we own different hospitals. All these folks, they come to us. All these folks, they know we wear a turban, we have a big long beard, and we have one of the oldest Sikh temple located in Stockton. And that is just not 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years old. It was built in early 1900s. And since then we are here, we're contributing back to this community, this country, and we are part of that. So that was very shocking for me. And since then, what I try doing is that what we call a Sikh awareness. Your channel name is being Sikh awareness. How can we make people aware of it? You need to not just do events, as a Sikh community we're doing the events, but we need to take a participation in other people's event as well. If there's a Latino community, you need to take participation in that, and you need to invite them to. It's a vice versa. It's a give and take. You go there and interact with them. You get to learn about them, and you invite them to your events, and they get to learn about that. It's about all community building together and collaborating it together for a better tomorrow.
And also, I think I will just like to add in that the studies have shown that when you interact with different community members in your society, they learn more about you and their opinion change.
Yes.
And I think so. It's really very important to get either if you even have a marriage event, just ask all your colleagues who are working with you to just come to that event, because that's another opportunity to show about your culture, your values, and I think what you think about this society.
Correct.
And so with that, I think it's really important what you are doing in terms of, also I like to touch on healthcare, because usually one of the healthcare, usually I think people in our community is mostly doing license work. Either it's RN, CNA, LVN, like those kind of jobs have good, I think, pay grade. Right. So, but you are in healthcare management, so that's somewhat, I think, different than people do in our community. So what difference you think about that to being in the management or being in the licensed profession?
Like I said before, it's about you. If you want to be a physician and you're touching somebody's life on an individual basis, that's way much more important than other part. But being in a management, I think when I started my education as a 4-year program, I actually didn't even know if I wanted to be engineer, if I wanted to be having a degree in a business administration, or I wanted to be in the aviation or something else. And it just sometimes you just need to interact. And I always focus on talk to people. If you don't know the answer, talk to somebody. Be open about it. Don't think somebody's gonna judge you. If somebody's gonna judge you, they're gonna judge you regardless. If you would open up, you will get to know more. Like, oh, okay, maybe I need to look into that. And I think the question is not about comparing it, like being physician versus management. I think they both kind of give back to the society in different ways.
Sure.
Being on the management side, it's more you look at how things are, how policies are being trickled down from upper management to a lower, and how it's being implemented working in a hospital versus working in the corporation in a program office, because those policies are being implemented by upper management, upper leadership. They kind of look at working. It's literally can connect that you're being in a you're doing so much for the community. It's about connecting with the people at the grassroots level in order to understand the problem. So management is kind of similar structure where we have hospitals and the staff members, employees work there. They have so many, not only staff members, employees, but members also. They have sometimes some difficulties getting things done or getting the service they signed up for because they're paying the premiums for that. So management's job is to look into that. Where are the gaps? What are the pain points, or how can we make it efficient for our members and our employees and our physicians? So that is what management kind of role that I sit in.
Yeah, because I think it's also really very important to be in a single profession but at different levels.
Right.
Because ultimately it's about I think just making again the Sikh American awareness at different profession, different levels. And I think our previous generation had issues with that because obviously they always think about doctors, and because there are like those typical profession we used to have in India, either as doctor, engineer, or lawyers. But I think now our second, third generation is thinking about different options. I think arts, someone can like to be reading, I think, literature and just researching on that. So these are like different profession we should not, I think, fear about, and should not think, okay, if I will make the money or not, it would be a good life or not. I think in US, you can make, I think, good money, I think, probably in any profession, especially with our I think attitude of working hard, especially the Indian community. So you should not get afraid thinking about or stigmatize some positions because they used to have maybe some kind of a low grade based on you. But I think you should decide, let your child decide about that while he goes through the, I think, undergraduate courses, especially the general education. So before I ask your wife to come in and provide reviews about you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'll just like to ask you, because you came from India.
I did. I was 17 years old when I moved from India.
Yeah. So so especially I think kids who come from India and they have to transition into, I think, a totally different kind of education system. So can you provide a little bit of, I think, talk on the experience you had to transition and enter into this completely different educational system, because your testing is different, I think the dialect is different, and also the culture is different. So just provide some, I think, information on that. Probably someone is looking from India and thinking about to transition.
I know, definitely. I think you touched really two good points. One, education system is different, and second, the culture. When I talk about culture, it's a whole different custom. You don't know how to socialize. You don't know what do you need to talk about, because in India you have cricket. You talk about when you hang out with friends. What's going on? And you need to first get involved in order to socialize with people. What sort of a sport people are like in here? So it's two main things: basketball and football. And that's what you need to first learn in order to understand the culture, understand to become a part of the society. Because without those two things, I don't think so you can hold a conversation. And then it comes down to the education. Education, in my opinion, is something. It's a structured way where anybody can, if they're willing to learn that, they can adapt to that, they can learn about it, and they can be successful at it. But the very first thing is, it's the communication barrier. For you need to be very, very open about not being afraid that, if I am speaking with certain accent, somebody's gonna judge me. No. In America, you have variety of people with different accents. Do not put that thought in your head. Don't be afraid of speaking. Don't be afraid of going and asking questions. Don't be afraid of letting yourself express to other people, how do you feel about it, and what do you think. It's all about practice, right? It's all about you doing a practice more, you being involved in things more. It's gonna come, and at the end, as everybody who put their effort, work hard, they're gonna be good at it. And I think you were not born here. I was not born here. Simran was not. My wife Simran was not born here. We all came. We all had that same struggle. We all had that hustle. Where we were not fluent in English. We were not. Sure. We were not properly know how to address some things in certain way or understand. We put ourselves out there, even though we know maybe I'm wrong. Well, who cares? Look at today. You are attorney. My wife is attorney. I'm sitting on a healthcare in the healthcare organization in the leadership role, and the city of Tracy, I'm on the Parks and Rec Commission, and you are on multiple commissions as well in Modesto.
Sure.
So that all comes with being open and being putting your efforts in there. So that's only my advice. Don't be afraid, and be patient, and it's gonna take a time, and you're not gonna become expert in something overnight.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's really important to touch because as we have all experienced that when you come here, it's difficult to interact with people because you don't understand the culture and you're afraid if I'm doing any kind of mistake, is it right what I'm saying?
Right.
First of all, so I think so we understand you. We have gone through that, I think, process. So any students who have recently came and I think who are on student visas, and just don't be afraid. You can always be, I think, excel in your life regardless of from where you start. Right. And now I'd like to ask wife. Wife, what you call her at home? Simran. Okay, so Miss Wife. So I like to ask you about so who fight a lot at the house?
Raj, obviously, all the time. He's the fighter.
Hey, happy wife, happy life. I have to, in front of a camera, I have to say yes.
So
no, he doesn't fight. I think I probably have a bad temper than Raj does. But
I wouldn't call it bad temper or fight. I think it just, because of your work environment, it just the way.
I think we're just different in that sense, right? I'm trained to argue, so I went through 3 years of law school figuring out how to argue with individuals.
Yeah.
So that's primarily my thinking is. And Raj is always like, why are you arguing with me on that? Because we have to get the answer, And I think that's
a different approach you can take, and it's. I would say she's always like looking for fact. Even if it's a simple thing, give me a fact. It's like, there doesn't need to be a fact, it's a conversation.
Yeah, so I think that, and I would like to go back. I was listening to the interview, and I would like to go back to the English component of it. And I think if somebody is new, one of the biggest things that you could do is watch TV. TV you will be surprised how much TV has influence in our American community, American society, and you get to learn so many things. And it could be a simple conversation starter. So don't be afraid to speak. Obviously, everyone has accents. Raj has an accent. I have an accent. Harpreet has an accent. So it's no big deal. Speak as you want. Speak freely. It's a country of free people. Yep. So, and just watch TV, I would say, and they're on.
So who is always right?
I mean, come on, Harpreet. Come on now. Is this... Wait, honestly.
I'm going to ask this question back to you. When the wife comes over, who's always right?
I will just answer that when she's in front of me. Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, I don't know. I think Raj does sometimes. There's been times where he'll like stick his ground.
Some point.
Sometimes.
I'm very glad you're saying this.
And sometimes, generally he doesn't. Sometimes he'll be like, no. This is what we're going to do, and then I'll be like, no, I'm not going to do that, and then later on I'll come around and we'll do the same thing. But it's just, I think it's about communication and understanding each other at the end of the day. So
sure, I think it's good. I think you have like that same vision and thinking about getting into social activities, because sometimes I think partners have issues with that. Okay, you're probably he or she may be saying you are not giving me more time, and because you are getting involved in other stuff. So I think it's also important you need support of your family members.
Agreed.
To do like I think any kind of social activity, because in the daytime you are at your job, and then you have to think about your family member who doesn't align with that same vision. So it gets difficult, but I think it's really important for husband and wives that you should support your husband and wife, I think, in any kind of social activity
or anything, anything that they want to do. And I would say that Raj and I don't have that issue, obviously, because we're both like have so much to do. And I think I get all my talking done at work. So by the time I come home, I really just want to be quiet.
Great.
And so I think that's helped us in a way, because, I get it all out. Then you
have the opportunity to
And then, but I also want to encourage everyone to support each other and support each other's dreams. You're only going to help the person go further. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And if you support them, and if you feel you can't do what they're doing, then pick up your own hobby, pick up your own things that you're interested in. So, because at the end of the day, every individual wants some self-respect and also some support. So I think that's extremely important.
Good. I think you have good, I think, partnership, and I pray that it continues and you don't have fights,
No,
obviously.
no,
And
Raj, no fun.
so thanks again for, I think, being my second guest,
Yeah,
and
thank
also
you.
for being my
first
first
guest.
guest. Thank you. So I will just see with you with a new guest about a new person who is, I think, doing a lot of social work, and also talk about their profession, how they have structured their life around, I think, their whole day and their busy schedule. So because it's really important to bring those stories, because with those stories, then only you can, I think, try to align yourself and think about, I can also do this.
Yeah.
And that's the main purpose of this channel, to just inspire you to do something, not just sit at your couch. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.